Greetings and salutations, friends. My name is, of course, Charles Q. Banks, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Charles' Anime Episode Summary and Review. And today I'm reviewing episode 6 of Kimetsu no Yaiba. And this episode I did enjoy. It's not like the best episode ever, but it's definitely enjoyable. We've reached a new plateau of good quality, and I'm happy with it. This episode was much slower. We've ratcheted down the pace quite a bit, and it makes sense because it's like the breathing out after a hard-fought battle. After all, the last couple of episodes have been really high-octane, rip-roaring, action-packed scenes and episodes with impactful moments, emotionally, that have driven the plot forward very quickly. And I was happily wrong, proven wrong, gladly, about the fact that the last couple of episodes did not go into just stereotypical shonen tournament arc territory. It was just 2 episodes of basically a test of courage or life or death test, and now the main character got through it, and he's on the other side, and he's now a part of the Demon Slayer Corps. So we are moving right along quite nicely. So this episode starts out with our boy Tanjiro getting geared up for his first ever Demon Slayer mission, and there's no recap either, which I was also really happy about. So he's putting on his black jacket, and we see him putting it on from behind, and it shows in white the kanji for destroy, which is just awesome. Just like, that rocks. I'd love to have that jacket. But so then he puts on his green-black checkered jacket over top, which is awesome. I love that design and colors. It's kind of a double whammy for me. It's like, man, you look good. Also, his forehead patch, his wound on his forehead, which before was a round patch, after he got hit in the head by the demon in episode 4, it is now healed into a perfectly jagged scar over his left eye, which looks really cool. It almost looks like a tattoo. And I'm supposing that the fact that his head was said to be like a rock in episode 2 by the demon, and hitting his head against the boulder, shows that he had an especially hard head. So taking a direct hit to the head was not able to kill him because of that fortuitous fact. And because his younger brother, who was dead, came back to him in ghost form in the afterlife and caused him to wake up again. A lot of good things are happening to this guy in moments of danger. But anyway, so he is going off to this place, and there are definitely a few moments where it's like, okay, good, you can move along now. Like, he's beckoning his sister to get into the brand new box that Tengu has fashioned for him to carry her on his back, which is just, still, I can't get over that. It's super weird. But he's telling her to get in, and it takes like a good 30 seconds for that scene to shift. She's like in bed, covering her little head. She's absolutely adorable. And she goes back, and you see the little lump of her in the blanket, and it moves forward, moves back, moves forward again, and it just hangs there for like 2 seconds. And then she's in, and it's like, okay, let's go. Oh boy, that was long. But anyway, that's okay. It's very, just taking its time in the first, 8 minutes. The first half is very much slow and just allowing the narrative to breathe, which I appreciate. It doesn't have to be all flashy and, guns and mirrors and whatnot. But he finally gets to the village, which is northwest of where he has been, which is in the mountains. So that might, if this is a real place, put him in the southeastern area, maybe Osaka or something, and coming closer to Tokyo now. I don't know. But the village looks really cool. All with that slate gray roofing tiles that Japan is known for, And it's shown that this is also the Taisho era because all of the electric wiring is set up, as well as like telegraph wires. So this is definitely securely, firmly set in the 20th century. So he comes in, and there's a poor guy named Kazumi, who has also lost a young girl, his fiance or his crush, is walking along one night, and she vanished. And he has been beaten up by her father for allowing her to vanish in his sight while he took her out. And so he's just a very tragic character. Everyone is gossiping about him, and Tanjiro stops, goes to hear his story, and starts investigating the disappearance of his girl, Satoko, right? Yes, Satoko. And he can smell the smell of a demon, and he's like, there's a very, very slight scent, and it goes into what he's able to smell in visualized form, and it's like, holy crap, that's a lot of red that you can see. That's a slight amount, but it looks pretty cool, those swirling red clouds. And it's a style this show is like best at. I really love that. So he continues to search for the girl and for the demon who, bore her away. And the music is able, because of the fact that this is a very slow-paced episode, the soundtrack is able to breathe, and we can actually hear the compositions by Yuki Kajiura. And they're haunting and very appropriate for Tanjiro investigating around. It's kind of just slightly driving, a little bit creepy, but also hopeful. So it's like, he's trying to find the thing. And it becomes, darker and darker as he looks. It's taking all day, and we can see that by the fact that it changes from bright and sunny and blue to basically deep red lighting, which is really cool. And then it goes to night, and it's like, white moonlight. And so there's something about this episode that feels different from every other episode in this show. And it's like there were certain visual and cinematic things that were employed to make this a more artistic episode, which is very interesting. For example, when our boy Kazumi was getting beaten at the parents of Satoko, their house, he's on the floor and being beaten and being berated by the father. The mother is telling him to stop, and he's on the floor, and he looks backwards, and he can see on the desk behind him the scarlet cloth that Satoko used to wear. And instead of just showing it right side up, it shows it upside down from his perspective. And it's like, yes, perspective shot. You could definitely overlook that and just not do it in a normal movie or in animation, but they actually put in the time to actually think what it would look like from his perspective, so I like that. And then we see the demon is a type that can melt into the floor and move along in the netherworld, come up, swallow people whole, and bring them back down into the netherworld. And so there are certain things that are interesting about that. Definitely interesting perspective shots, like an over-the-head shot of a girl going to bed, and the black ooze forms around her bed, and arms come out, and it's a very creepy scene, and it's just like, what am I watching? It's very disturbing. Very few shows go into this kind of horror territory these days. But I'm glad to see that this show is going for it. And also, there's another scene where the demon shows how many girls he has eaten and killed. He's been taking trophies of all of his victims, which is horrible. Like, he has all the hair ribbons of all of the girls that he's eaten in his jacket, and he displays it for Tanjiro and Kazumi, and is like, if you see her hairpin here, then I've eaten her. And he sees her red ribbon, and it like goes into this weird, like, dreamscape where it shows the girl and her ribbon and a recap of what happened and the demon taking her, and then she like explodes into black smoke, and then it shows like Tanjiro thinking about this and the effect that demons have had on his life and his family all dying and bursting into smoke, and then his sister turning into a demon. And it's all this really weird dreamscape stuff, and like blood trails from the top of the screen downwards over Nazeko's face, and then it like zooms out of Tanjiro's eyeball, and it's like, whoa, that's some interesting stuff going on here, in terms of cinematography. Um, Strange time to bring that out, but it's very effective and it's very interesting, and like, good job going over and above the Call of Duty with this abstract stuff. So that's something that is really cool about this episode that I haven't really seen a lot of in this anime, but also not a lot of in anime in general. There are definitely standout shows that do this sort of thing, usually in like Gainax, Studio Gainax, but wouldn't expect it in a show like this. So, it turns out that the demon can split into 3 different personalities, as well as into 3 different bodies, and Tanjiro's having a really tough time attacking them. And so he's already swallowed a girl, like a minute beforehand, and Tanjiro smells him, goes after him, stabs the floor, and it's effectively stabbed the demon. And then he reaches down into the floor, grasps a piece of cloth, brings her out, and he saves the girl. So it's like, oh, thank God, like, there's actually going to be someone saved in this show. A lot of action anime, just like to, show the nitty-gritty, and that you can't always save someone. So in this context, in a lot of different shows, it would just kill her off, and he would just have to take revenge. But this show is a little bit more optimistic, and he's able to save the girl who was just eaten by him, or almost eaten by him, just brought into the netherworld. So Tanjiro can't really get a bead on this guy. He moves too fast, he can sink into the floor, and so Nazeko bursts out of the box with a kick. Her giant leg comes out and smashes the guy in the face, bringing him out of the netherworld, twists his head all the way around, and then he has to twist it all the way back to bring himself alive again. And they have a short, conversation, and that's basically the end of this episode, is Nazeko... Oh, how could I forget this? Nazeko has been hypnotized. That's right, hypnotized by Tengu while she was asleep. Tengu has been hypnotizing her while she's asleep to basically to re-educate her that demons are bad, and that if any demon tries to attack a human, then demons are her enemy, and she needs to fight them. And so she jumps out of the box and readies herself to fight the other demons. And Tanjiro is protecting the 2 humans, Kazumi and the other girl that he's saved, and that's how the episode ends. So it was, not a lot happened in this episode, but it was really solid, and those cinematography moments where it goes into like that dream realm, into the nether realm, and showing what the demon can do, showing Tanjiro being able to smell the demon, they were all really interesting visual representations of things. And this show is great visually. I cannot say that enough times. So yeah, we'll pick up with this battle in the next episode. So, thanks for watching. Please comment what you thought about this episode, and like, subscribe, and click the notification bell if you enjoyed this video. So, until next time, thanks for watching, and farewell.